Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 7th episode of the A-Pod with myself, Tepe. I know it's been a while and I haven't released an episode in a very long time. I think the month of October only released one, and I'll tell you why. Because it was my birthday month, number one, and number two, I just felt like I wasn't in the right space. So I have ups and downs with regards to my emotions and how I feel, and I don't think I was in the right space to sit down and channel my energies into the podcast. I try to remain as consistent as I can since I started it, but my emotions do fluctuate, and because of my 30th and because of all these roller coaster emotions that I was going through, I don't think it felt right for me to record. It didn't feel genuine for me to record, but now I'm back. The month of October and its pressures have left me, and so I decided to do an assumption tag as well as a Q&A on my Instagram quickly so that I can get back into the groove of recording. So I decided to do that on my Instagram just a couple of days back. I got a few requests. I mean, out of 10,000 people that I have on Instagram, I must have gotten 5 of these things. So that's a little embarrassing, but anyways... I'm going to do it anyways, and all the questions and assumptions that I got from my Instagram and bring them on here, just like I said once again, to get myself back in the groove of recording. So my first assumption was by Sammy S, who says... it wasn't a question per se. I think he was just saying that you didn't take me seriously about the vineyard and wedding ring thing. So we used to have Sammy S as a friend of ours, of the show, and a friend of my former co-host. We used to joke around about us getting married, and we had a fake contract in inverted commas. So now he's saying that he wanted us to get a vineyard. I think he bought a vineyard. Congratulations to you, by the way. But I also think... so he's saying that as a mockery. He's mocking me on that one. And tall as Dambuza says that you're going to Metro FM in the near future. That is your assumption. Listen, I received that assumption. I take that assumption with all my heart. But no, I'm not going to Metro anytime soon. But in the near future, we're throwing it out to the universe and hoping that we will get back on radio and we will be on Metro, hopefully. And then we've got Greg, who says that you might have liked me back in the day. So Greg is also one of the guys that we used to be quite a big friend of the shows. And he now has a girlfriend. So I don't know where that comes from. Does your girlfriend know that you're writing things like this? If your girlfriend doesn't know that you're writing things like this, then you're cheating. We've got King D. Maya, who says, I have no assumption, just that you are missed by me on radio. Thank you. I think I get this quite a lot, and I don't just say that. I really do on my Instagram and on my Facebook, and it really warms my heart, even on Twitter. But maybe sometimes it's slightly triggering because of my desire of wanting to get back on radio next year, and maybe a slight anxiety that I might not get back on radio in the time that I had assumed I would. I mean, I took a break from it because I felt like I was not ready to get back, and because radio is such a hurtful thing, man. You might love it, but it hurt me a lot. So I wanted to take that break. I felt like it was necessary, and I am hoping, obviously, that next year I will be back on radio with God's will. I hope that I will be back on radio, but right now, hey man, kikuba breaking so mentally. And we've got Tepiso, who says, do you sometimes feel that traditional radio has gone stale in SA? And if so, what is the solution? What I can tell you, to answer your question, 1, radio has not gotten stale, more so South African radio. But what I do feel when it comes to radio in South Africa, we are diluting it because of the lack of talent that they have put on the radio platforms, more so in the commercial radio space. We've got people in community radio stations, and we've got people in varsity radio stations who are doing quite amazing and who are good at the craft, who are studying the craft. And unfortunately, we do give it to the influencers who don't necessarily, 1, know how to speak, 2, do not read, 3, do not know the craft of radio, 4, are not even trained. My thing is, okay, I mean, I remember we had I shared a table with Bob, and Bob was saying that, the late Bob, and he was saying that if you're going to put a famous person on radio because of ratings and because of how advertising works, and this is how you guys want to sell the show, you want to sell this time slot, you want to sell the station, at least fucking train them. And I think that's the big thing of radio now is that they don't train them, they don't teach them how to work the desk, they don't teach them how to speak, your time checks, and all those technical things that come with radio, because radio is not just coming on and speaking. There is a technicality to it that I think a lot of people don't understand. And even outside of the technicality, I do feel even the producing part, every single radio DJ needs to have gone through a producing space or needs to know how to produce a radio. When I say produce radio, I mean the sound part of it. You need to at least know how to edit and need to know how a promo should sound. You should at least also know how to, when you're putting out content, preempt your listeners, your listeners' response. Preempt a lot of things. You should be the reason why your listeners are listening, number one. But also, you should already know where you want the direction of the conversation to go. So if you come onto the radio and you don't know where the conversation of the topic, where you want the topic to go, that's problem number one. And I think we're seeing a lot of that on radio. So unfortunately, because of that, a lot of people tune out. I also have a very, very big tune out factor. If I feel like there's something that I don't understand on that radio station, they're not prepared, they don't have prep is preparation, that for me makes me tune out, because I take radio seriously, and I do hope that everybody else who goes on radio takes it seriously. I know there was a radio station in particular, and the DJs would come on and be like, oh my God, I'm so tired, I don't want to be here. Literally, this is what they say: I don't really want to be here, but we've got a duty to serve, so we'll be here. And that makes me tune out, because people listen to have their day brightened. So if you're saying you don't want to be here, why should I be here? So those are the things I think a lot of radio people are fucking up, man, and they should just really get their shit together. And we've also got Wendy who says I think she's reading me this one. She says she thought that I was a mean bitch, but now she knows that I'm emotional as F. So Wendy is a former colleague of mine. She's also moved on. She's now working at 947. Congratulations, by the way. She said that about me. She thought that I was a bitch. I don't know why, and I get that a lot, but generally I am a very, very nice person. And Wendy was one of those girls who was there for me, though, like maybe not even on a personal scale, but generally, like if I was at work and I was breaking down, because I had a lot of those moments. She saw the disrespect. She saw how compromised I was professionally, and she was there for me, even in my last days and my time of leaving. She made sure that I get the best farewell as possible, the best farewell possible. She made sure that I was happy by the time that I leave, and that for me is quite a selfless act, and I appreciate her a lot for that. I cried a lot, and I think she saw most of my crying just before leaving. Why? Even announcing it just before announcing also that I'm leaving. So that's why she says I'm emotional AF. I really am an emotional creature. So I appreciate her for seeing that, and I generally appreciate people like Wendy. That was my assumption tag. That was how quick it was. I told you, like 3 people sent me through their questions. So that it was just me trying to get back in the groove of things and trying to get back my podcast. So the next episode, we're going to be talking about depression among men. Why do you not speak about your depression? What is it about this word depression that you guys feel it's a little bit taboo in your circles, in your conversations? So we're going to be talking to a good friend of mine who was diagnosed with depression, and I found this out last year, and I'm a bit sad that I found this out last year. Maybe it was a year after he had been diagnosed. So I'm glad that he's able to talk about it, and he'll be able to talk about it in the next episode of the A-Pod with myself, Tsepi.